Britain's story begins long before written records. We start with mysteries. Stonehenge, a circle of towering stones, stands as a testament to this ancient past. Erected around 2500 BC, its purpose remains a source of debate. Was it a temple, an astronomical calendar? We may never know for sure. What we do know is that around 700 BC, Celtic tribes began to arrive from mainland Europe. These were skilled warriors and artisans. They lived in tribal groups, ruled by fierce chieftains. The Celts introduced ironworking to Britain. They also brought their own rich mythology and religious beliefs, which would influence the island for centuries to come. The land that is now Britain was a patchwork of these tribes, each with its own customs and alliances. In 55 BC, Julius Caesar, the Roman general, led an expedition to Britain. It was a brief incursion, but it marked the beginning of Roman interest in the island. Nearly a century later, in 43 AD, Emperor Claudius ordered a full-scale invasion. Roman legions met fierce resistance from the Celtic tribes, but Roman military might ultimately prevail. Britain became a province of the Roman Empire. For nearly 4 centuries, Roman rule transformed Britain. They built roads, towns, and cities. They introduced Roman law and customs. Roman influence was profound, leaving a lasting mark on British culture and infrastructure. However, the Roman Empire eventually began to decline. By the early 5th century AD, Roman legions had withdrawn from Britain, leaving the island vulnerable to new invaders. With the Romans gone, Britain was open to new arrivals. The departure of the Roman legions left a power vacuum, creating an opportunity for new groups to establish their presence on the island. From the north came the Anglo-Saxons, Germanic tribes seeking new lands. These tribes, driven by the promise of fertile soil and new opportunities, began their migration. These warriors and farmers established kingdoms across what is now England. They built villages, cultivated the land, and defended their territories from rival groups. They brought their own language, which would form the basis of modern English. This early form of English, known as Old English, was rich with Germanic roots and would evolve over centuries. Their culture, a blend of Germanic and Scandinavian influences, began to reshape the island. Art, religion, and social structures were all influenced by their heritage. But the Anglo-Saxons were not alone in their desire for British soil. Other groups, seeing the same opportunities, also set their sights on the island. From Scandinavia came the Vikings, fierce raiders and skilled seafarers. Known for their daring raids and advanced shipbuilding techniques, the Vikings were a formidable force. Their longships, sleek and fast, terrorized coastal communities. These vessels allowed them to strike quickly and retreat before local forces could respond. The Vikings initially raided for plunder, but they soon began to settle, particularly in the north and east of England. They established their own communities, blending with the local population. This period, known as the Viking Age, was a time of violence and upheaval, but also of cultural exchange. Despite the conflicts, there was significant interaction between the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons. The Vikings left their mark on British place names, language, and even DNA. Many modern British towns and cities still bear names of Viking origin, and their legacy can be seen in the genetic makeup of the population. The year 1066 marks a pivotal year in British history. William, the Duke of Normandy, laid claim to the English throne. He assembled an army and sailed across the English Channel. The Battle of Hastings, fought near the south coast of England, was a decisive victory for William. King Harold of England was killed, and William, known as the Conqueror, seized the throne. The Norman conquest had a profound impact on England. William, a ruthless and ambitious ruler, brought with him a new ruling class. French became the language of the court and administration. Castles, symbols of Norman power, sprang up across the countryside. The Norman conquest reshaped English society, law and language, laying the foundation for the kingdom that would emerge in the centuries to come. The centuries following the Norman conquest saw England evolve from a conquered land into a powerful kingdom. The Normans brought with them new governance structures, feudal systems, and cultural influences that would shape the future of England. In 1215, King John, facing rebellion from his barons, was forced to sign the Magna Carta, a document that limited the power of the king and asserted the rights of certain freemen. This historic event marked the beginning of a constitutional framework that would influence not only England but also future democracies around the world. The Magna Carta, though limited in its initial scope, would become a cornerstone of English law and a symbol of individual liberties. Over time, its principles were expanded and interpreted to support broader human rights and the rule of law. The 16th century brought about another major upheaval, the English Reformation. This period was characterized by significant religious transformation and conflict. King Henry VIII's desire for a divorce led to a break with the Roman Catholic Church. His marriage to Anne Boleyn and the subsequent establishment of the Church of England were pivotal moments in English history. England established its own church, with the monarch as its head. This move not only altered the religious landscape but also centralized power within the monarchy. This sparked religious and political turmoil, with Protestants and Catholics vying for power. The ensuing conflicts, including the dissolution of monasteries and the persecution of dissenters, left a lasting impact on the nation. The Reformation had a profound impact on English society, shaping its religious landscape and its relationship with the rest of Europe. It influenced social structures, governance, and even international relations, setting the stage for future religious and political developments. Section 6. Civil War and Restoration, a Kingdom Divided. The 17th century was a time of great turmoil in England, marked by political, social, and religious upheaval. The country was on the brink of transformation, with tensions simmering beneath the surface. King Charles I's attempts to assert his authority led to conflict with Parliament. His belief in the divine right of kings clashed with the growing power of Parliament, setting the stage for a monumental struggle. In 1642, civil war broke out between the Royalists, who supported the king, and the parliamentarians, led by Oliver Cromwell. This conflict, known as the English Civil War, would change the course of the nation's history. The English Civil War was a brutal and bloody affair, dividing families and communities. The parliamentarians emerged victorious after years of intense and devastating battles, leaving a lasting impact on the country. Charles I was executed in 1649, marking a dramatic turning point. With his death, England became a republic, a radical shift from its monarchical past. Oliver Cromwell, a skilled military leader and devout Puritan, ruled as Lord Protector. His leadership brought a new form of governance, but it was not without its challenges and controversies. However, after Cromwell's death in 1658, the monarchy was restored. The period of the Commonwealth came to an end, and the nation once again embraced its royal heritage. Charles II, son of Charles I, returned from exile and took the throne in 1660. His reign marked the beginning of the Restoration era, a time of renewal and celebration. The Restoration marked a return to stability, but the legacy of the Civil War, with its debates about power and religion, continued to shape English politics. The echoes of this turbulent period would resonate for generations to come, influencing the future of the nation. Section 7. Empires and Revolutions, the Georgian and Victorian eras. The 18th and 19th centuries witnessed Britain's transformation into a global superpower. The Georgian era, named for the Hanoverian kings George I through George IV, saw the rise of British naval power and the expansion of the British Empire. Britain's colonies stretched across the globe from North America to India. The Victorian era, named for Queen Victoria's long reign from 1837 to 1901, was a time of unprecedented industrial and technological advancement. The Industrial Revolution, which began in Britain, transformed the country into a manufacturing powerhouse. Factories sprang up across the land, producing textiles, iron, and other goods. This period also saw significant social change, with the rise of a new middle class and growing demands for political and social reform. Section 8. The 20th Century Wars, Welfare, and Shifting Global Tides. The 20th century was a time of both triumph and tragedy for Britain. The country played a pivotal role in 2 world wars, emerging victorious but scarred by the conflicts. The first half of the century saw the rise of the Labour Party and the establishment of the welfare state, providing social safety nets for citizens. However, Britain also faced the decline of its empire as colonies gained independence. The latter half of the century saw Britain grapple with economic challenges and its place in a changing world. The country joined the European Economic Community, later the European Union in 1973, a move that would have significant consequences in the decades to come. Section 9, Brexit and Beyond, Navigating a New World Order. In 2016, Britain voted to leave the European Union, a decision that sent shockwaves through the country and beyond. The process of Brexit, as it became known, proved to be complex and divisive, exposing deep divisions within British society. As Britain navigates its future outside of the European Union, it faces a number of challenges. The country must redefine its relationship with its European neighbours while forging new partnerships around the world. The legacy of its imperial past, its evolving national identity, and its place in a rapidly changing global landscape are all issues that Britain continues to grapple with as it moves into the 21st century.